Hello, I'm Jenny Glick, licensed marriage and family therapist, certified sex therapist for you in this space. I'm a torchbearer, a way shower, a guide for women who are on the swirly, twirly, windy path to become more and more of who they are in the world. And today we're going to talk about intimacy, sex, especially if you're in a relationship, long-term relationship where your intimacy is flat, kaput, not happening, or not satisfying. If you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, do all the things. You know how YouTube is, so do it. You know you want to. Okay, so here's the thing is that often when it comes to sex and intimacy, we have practiced so much talking about it with our partner, bringing it up, giving them books, maybe taking them to a counselor, complaining, and complaints are amazing. I have, I think, a video here about how complaints help to point you to your desires. So I love working with women if you are a complainer, because it means that you have lots of desires and your complaints can be a real gold mine, but bringing those complaints to your lover is probably not such a good idea. There are other ways to be with those. Anyway, when you have this practice of you've brought it up so often and it doesn't go well, then I don't suggest that you start by talking about it, right? Because you've really mapped that template in your relationship that as soon as you start going there, like we need to talk about this, your partner's probably going to shut down or pull away. It's going to really light up in their brain and their body all of these old patterns of protection, right? Defendedness, because they feel wrong or they can't satisfy you. And here's the truth, women, we can be really hard to satisfy. We're like, sometimes the analogy I use is we're a bit like cats. Like sometimes I want you to touch me like this, and sometimes stop, I'm going to claw out your face, right? And sometimes our partner, we can be partnered with someone who's more like a dog that's like, always touch me in this way. Every time I want you to rub my belly, right? And to have the kind of rich, intimate life that you want requires a level of maturity. I like to think of it as initiation. And I believe so many of us, at least the women in my world who I work with, we're on a path of self-initiation. So that means rather than looking for someone outside of you to initiate you, to grow you, to transform you, right? To fix you, you don't need to be fixed. You probably, whenever it is that we're stuck, we're hitting kind of this ceiling and we keep looping in the old pattern over and over again. We're looping because we haven't accessed how to open a doorway to get above this ceiling that we've hit. And what is it when we meet a threshold that we need to get beyond? That's an initiatory moment, right? And so what I can tell you for sure is what you've tried before now doesn't work, and it's not going to work. So you can stop doing it. Thank goodness. You can stop bringing it up. You can stop being bitter. You can stop clenching. But all of that bitterness and clenching, all of that animosity or anger or disappointment that you have in your body, it's really important for you to know how to feel, sense in your body, like feel those feelings in your body, not thinking those feelings, which is what we often do. We want to talk about our feelings and then we're thinking about them, but we're not feeling them in our bodies. So one of the things I do with the women who I guide is really support them in feeling their feelings in their body so that you can metabolize that, right? Metabolize what it is that you're experiencing so that it moves through you rather than doing this artificial thing where you try to let go of the hurt from your partner having a disappointing sex life, right? You're not going to be able to let it go if you haven't actually felt it in your body. That's a somatic practice. And maybe I'll make a video on how to do that. If that's of interest to you, drop a comment below and I'll make sure to do that for you. So the first step for you is to recognize if you have disappointment, hurt, anger, and really have a practice of feeling it in your body. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is recognize whatever limiting beliefs that you have about your partner, your sex life. A lot of women who I work with say things like, well, I have this really amazing person who I'm in a relationship with, but we just don't connect intimately. It's just not part of it. We don't have chemistry, or we used to, but we don't anymore. Or maybe The woman is the one who has more desire than their partner. And so then the belief is it's never going to change. So any of those beliefs, I know that that has been your experience from maybe day one until now, or maybe, day 300 until now. Really important for you to make room for that belief to not be true. Because as long as you're holding on to that belief being true, it will not change. And often we hold on to that belief being true because it keeps us safe, right? Because then I don't have to be disappointed again. And I don't want to be disappointed again because it's been so hard, right? And I don't want to have to go there with my partner. And so the second step is for you to recognize what are the thoughts that keep you stuck, the thoughts and the beliefs, right? Because they will walk you into a swirly, whirly toilet bowl of disappointment over and over again. So that's number two. Number three, if you want to start to enhance your intimate life, create a new reality for you and your partner, I invite you to really ground yourself and practice creating safety inside your own body. It's really important. The foundational practice of having a kick in the sex life is for you to be able to be safe in your body. And most of us walk around and we're hugely dysregulated. We're anxious, we're afraid, we're annoyed, and we're looking for something or someone outside of us to regulate us. And if I am dysregulated, if I'm in a state of dis-ease in my body, then when I meet my partner's body, that's probably also in a state of dis-ease or maybe in a state of numbness, right? It's going to be really hard for us to connect in a way that feels pleasurable and satisfying to both of us because none of us have all cylinders firing, right? And so what safety is not about you not being abused. I hope you're not. If you're watching this, I hope that's not your reality. If it is, get safe, take different steps that are not going to be covered here in this video. This video is really for women who are in relationships that are all but positive, but they don't have the kind of intimate connection that they want. And so your safety, it's a form of self-nourishment. It's really attending to yourself. And many of us as women have learned that we cannot attend to ourselves. We have to attend to everything else outside of us. It's why we tend to have things like adrenal fatigue, why it is that we can have chronic headaches in some situations, why it is that we can have painful menstrual cycles in some situations, because our bodies are responding to how it is that we've organized our lives. And if we've organized our lives in a way that's very linear, or there's a lot of stress, there's a lot of pressure, right? Then that pressure being bore down on you is going to create some kind of physical or emotional symptom, right? And symptoms often, not always, but maybe always, I'm not sure, that's debatable, are showing back us to us, right? So I went through a period not too long ago, and I had a lot of headaches all the time. And I did all kinds of different health things to figure it out. And ultimately, what in part I realized, not solely, but in part, was that I was putting so much stress on myself in really quiet ways in my own mind. And that way of like having a boot on the back of your neck, right? Whether it's in your entrepreneurial or your professional world, or how it is that you're raising children, or how it is that you think you should look, or if you are really caught up in like anti-aging and being hard on yourself as you age, whatever it might be, there are so many ways, and we are simply bombarded with messages that we're not safe, we're not enough, that we unconsciously have been completely trained to compare ourselves to other people, right? And you're always going to find somebody else who looks like they're happier, or, have a physical experience that seems like it's better than yours. And then that will create a little bit of unsafety in you. So how do you start to create safety in yourself? One of the ways to do that is to practice locating safety in your body. So what you're hearing over and over again here, if you have a sex life that you don't enjoy, is that first you need to partner with your own body. So creating safety in your body, finding a place in your body where you feel relaxed, taking a breath, noticing if you are comfortable or available to be with your body without distraction, without a phone, without listening to an audible book, without listening to a podcast or YouTube, right? Do you have the capacity to simply be with yourself? I know most people know about mindfulness and meditation, and I certainly did for many, many, many years, but I didn't utilize that as a tool to locate safety in my body. And I honestly believe, and you can tell me if you feel differently than I do, but for women, we really want to have safety. And I think men are different, right? Duh. We're just different, right? And all of us women are not the same. There's a huge bell curve in that. But a lot of us women want to be able to surrender. We want to be able to let go. We want to be able to give it over and exhale. But if we don't have a safe place mapped in our body where we can feel safe to let go, surrender, give it over, we're never going to do it. And that is an inside job for you. So practicing how safe you can feel in your body, even as you're washing your dishes. So as you're washing your dishes, as you're standing there, really tuning down your mind, tuning up the sensations of your body, the hot water, the soapy water on your hands, feeling your hips. I often invite the women in my space to practice like swinging your hips side to side, taking some nonlinear movement with your physical body. So, enjoying the simple pleasure and safety of being in your body without needing to perform or do something, right? And so these are very simple building blocks to you then being able, after you feel safe, after you release some of the limiting beliefs and learn how to pivot into showing up in a different way. And I will put a link below if you don't know how to do that. If this doesn't make sense to you, I have a great 10-week program that you can do on your own that will walk you through that in very simple baby steps. After you do these things, then you have a foundation where it is that you can invite a partner into very simple sensory exploration with each other. And it might just start with a hand, right? Like touching hands and noticing what it's like to receive the pleasure of your partner touching your hand, noticing what it's like to rub the back of your hand onto your partner. And what I know from doing this work for over 20 years is that a lot of women who are at a place where they feel bitter and angry and annoyed at their partner do not want to touch their freaking hand. They don't want to do any of those exercises. And so it's not going to feel like it works because you're not available for the softness, which is why it is that it's really important for you to do your own work on your side of the street first. And if you're hearing me say that and you're thinking to yourself, why do I always have to do all of it, Jenny? And it's because it's your life. That's why. And we get to be radically responsible, totally accountable for our experiences in our lives. And if you're find yourself in a relationship, which I did many years ago, we're still married 20, going on 25 years now, happier now than ever. But if you find yourself in a relationship where you're not getting what you want, that's a mirror of you. Doesn't mean you're broken. It's just how this world is, right? We live in a world of contrast and polarity. So we're constantly being confronted or being presented with situations that are showing back to us. And it's a beautiful thing. You probably have people in your life who think you're incredible and amazing and wonderful, and that's showing back to you. Maybe you have children who love you or adore you. That's showing back to you. Similarly, when we have relationships with maybe a boss or a colleague or a client or your partner, and there's some scritchiness there, that's also showing back to you, right? It's an invitation for you to get clearer about what you're bringing to the relationship and creating a kind of alignment in you, a kind of frequency that feels like it's the truth of who you are, right? Rather than the self-protected, bitchy part of you that's just trying to like clench onto life to get your needs met or try to control everything because you're so scared and anxious, which I mean, I understand it's a crazy world out there. So we have to create, we're actually invited, and it's very exciting to create a world in here that feels really nourishing and delicious and good. So I think I'm on step 4, and that's about exploring a part of your partner's body and doing some sort of soft touch, non sexual, explorative play, whether that's a head massage or a foot massage or a back massage. And the point is for it to not lead to sex. That is not the point, right? The point is to explore what kind of touch do you like? Do you like touch A, which is like soft? Or do you prefer touch B? Right? And you could just do that on each other's hands or back. And then they'll say maybe they like A. Okay. Do you like A like this? Right? Swirling. Or do you like B, which is like barely touch? Right? Really simple ways of exploring each other's body in a non sexual and safe and relaxed and for fun, and set a timer like 5 minutes each, like very low, vulnerable entry point, just to see what comes up. You might be surprised that you like a scratchy feel. You might like a scratchy feel on the back of your hand, but you don't like it on your arm, right? So play with that. But what's really important before you get there is that you do this internal reorganization of yourself so that you're available for connection. Because if you're not available for connection, if you're going to tell your partner that they're wrong, that they never do it right, that they don't listen, don't even try it because it's not going to go well, right? Just don't try it. You need to create the conditions in yourself where you would be available for connection first. Okay, so start there. I hope this is helpful. Drop a comment, like, subscribe. Thanks for being here. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.